If you've been in the board gaming hobby for long, you've probably found some mechanics that work for you and some that don't. And that's okay. There's a wild world out there and we can have different opinions on mechanics. But what if a game takes a mechanic that you enjoy and combines it with one that you don't like as much and makes it into an even better game? Today, I want to show you one that does that for me. So let's take an up-close look at The Quest for El Dorado. This game was designed by Reiner Knizia, which if you are new to board gaming, you're gonna see that name a lot. And if you've been around board games for a long time, well, you may have a shrine, or maybe you're not a Knizia fan. It's okay, we all have our different opinions. El Dorado is a 2 to 4 player game, and you have these cool meeples. These are your adventures that you're trying to get from one end of this hexagonal track to the other to discover the gold. And you move your meeples by playing cards that represent the movement that you can make. First one there wins the game. The map is made of these different types of hexagons, which your little meeples will be working their way across to get to the end. Each card corresponds with the color and symbol of the land that you're crossing. So you need a machete to get across these greens and an oar to get across these blues. This spot on the map may end up being a shortcut for you compared to going all around, but it's going to take a 3 oar, which you can't combine cards to make. You must have a 3 or higher to be able to go through it. The two main board gaming mechanics in El Dorado are 1, a race, let's call that mechanic A, and deck building, let's call that mechanic B. And in this race game, only one meeple can be in a hexagon at a time on the map. So you can block opponents and kind of watch what they're doing. Will I use my movement this turn to block you, making you have to take a harder path that I know you may not have the cards for? Or do I go ahead and surge forward, trying to get the lead before you can catch up? Deck building as a mechanic is where you're adding new and stronger cards to your deck over time, so you can draw them when you need them. On your turns, you'll be moving your characters along or purchasing cards from a marketplace, and that's where El Dorado keeps its deck building simple. The additional cards cost gold, which you can use cards for in your starter deck, or for every card you don't want to use that you draw, you can use that as half a gold. There are only 18 possible cards in the marketplace and 6 on display at a time, so it's pretty easy to see what's available. Throughout the game, you're increasing the power of your cards to be able to cut through thicker groves of jungle or to navigate deeper waters. There's also places like this red spot on the map that lets you get rid of cards. Why would you want less cards? Well, you want to get rid of some of those smaller ones that let you travel less so they won't come up in your hand as often. And that's where the decision making lies. Should I get the machete when it's available, or should I grab the captain that's worth 3 when I see the water up ahead? In addition, in this game, you can add caves, which are marked on the map in these places, and when you get there, you get the benefit from going to them that's on the back side of the cave marker. But they typically are out of the way or harder to get to when it comes to the course along the path. El Dorado's deck management adds some thinkiness to the racing genre and begins to increase the weight of the family game while still being fun and friendly. Since it is possible for players to reach the goal at the same time since everybody gets their final turn, there are these angled shaped pieces that go between the maps that you must use a card in order to claim. They typically go to the person in the lead, and whoever has the most of these wins in case of a tie. My family just calls them French fries. El Dorado, in both of its editions, has several expansions. We have this one, Heroes and Hexes, and it plays really well, but I wouldn't move on to expansions until you've really played out the base game. For me, I love a race game. You're gonna find, as we go through videos in the future, plenty of race games in my collection. There's something about that seeing where you're going and where you're headed and how to outmaneuver each other that I thoroughly enjoy. The mechanic that I don't love is deck building. Now, before you turn off this video, deck building may be exactly what you enjoy, but for me, it just doesn't hit. And I can tell you part of that reason, actually a major component. You know the glasses that I have that are super thick and part of my theming? Well, for me, that makes it difficult to read cards. And deck building, typically, the cards have a lot of information on them. Games like Dominion or collectible card games, that small print on a card, when you have them splayed out in front of you, I can't really see that. It's a retinal detachment from years ago in my left eye. So for me, that mechanic just doesn't work. I wish I enjoyed deck builders, but I just can't process the information fast enough. So that game mechanic you enjoy, you might be surprised why somebody else just doesn't seem to jive with it. El Dorado, with its race mechanic and its small and simple deck building, that works. And it really has become one of my favorite games. It's easy to table, people can understand it very clearly, and the jungle and adventure theme makes this game a classic for my group, and one that we come back to time and time again. So I highly recommend The Quest for El Dorado. It's one of my favorite games to bring to table, plays in less than an hour, and has been fun for everybody I've shown it to. It even lets me enjoy deck building. Huh.